New York City is home to some of the most iconic streetball courts and tournaments, and streetball is synonymous with summertime. Synonymous with NYC streetball is Edgar Burgos, the founder and CEO of Hard to Guard Media, and Edgar joins me now. Edgar, how you doing, man?
What's up, Dexter? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. It is good to have you here. So much, we've known each other for years, but to be able to talk about streetball and everything that you've done in your career is going to be really good. And so both of us, we spent some time around streetball in our careers. I've worked with you in Nike Pro City over the summer. You've done stuff with Hoops in the Sun, Dykeman, Rucker Park, of course. When you think about streetball in New York City, what does streetball and those spaces mean to the New York sports fan?
It keeps the community together, and that's what always brings me back. I mean, I haven't really been dealing with streetball the last couple of years as much as I did, prior 10, 12 years. But I just love the fact that it brings, the community together.
Yeah, it really brings the community together. You see the people that come out. And what do you love about that energy when you see people out at these games, out at Dykeman, out at Rucker? What do you love about that energy that you see?
You never know who's going to show up. You never know who's going to show up, and you never know what top college players are going to be there. Obviously, NBA players just pop up, celebrities just pop up, and who's going to play. And then, you want to see, this is where it all starts for a lot of players that make it to the next level.
Yeah, it really does. And with summer right around the corner, you're always thinking about streetball. And I got to talk to you about this because for you, you were capturing a lot of stuff with streetball before social media, right? Before social media popped off, you were working on a show that captured streetballers around the New York City area. So what was it like, that experience of bringing NYC streetball to the forefront for everybody to see, those who weren't in the parks but could see this on TV? You were a major part of that. What was that like for you?
It was a journey. I remember me, my boy Mike Dempsey, Lance Chase, when we were working at the NBA and we were producing shows at Rucker Park at the time. I knew there was more than just, Rucker Park. There's there was Dykeman, there was Hoops in the Sun. And we sat down with all the commissioners and we're like, yo, we want to showcase you guys. And, we knew there was a culture there, but we were just trying to figure out, all right, nobody knows about it. It was always underground. We were like, let's put it in the forefront. MSG gave us a shot, and, we were on for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. And it really was something to see. I remember at that time just seeing that as a fan of basketball, somebody played in the playgrounds. It really was something to see. But doing that, right, there's something I hope all the viewers and people watching know about this too. There's the greatest game that never was. 2003, and this is me and you dating ourselves here now, okay? New York City blackout happened. And that's the largest blackout in the history of this country, right? And there was a game that was supposed to go down, Fat Joe's team versus Jay-Z's team at Rucker Park. You were documenting all the events at Rucker Park that summer, and that game never went down. So I have to ask you this. I know a lot of people around the city that felt very disappointed that they did not see this game. They wanted this game to happen. NBA stars were supposed to play. LeBron was rumored to play in that game, right? What are your feelings 20 years later about that? The fact that that never happened. Are you disappointed that that game never came about?
The first couple of years, yes. And then after thinking about it, I'm glad the game never happened.
Really?
Yes.
Why are you glad that this game never happened?
Because 20 years ago, the story behind Joe and Fat Joe and Jay, they wasn't friends. They were bitter rivals back then. They both wanted to win bad. And now 20 years later, Joe and Jay are friends. And, Joe's at Rock Nation. Jay is now this huge, they're both icons, but Jay's this legend now. And my thing is I heard a story when they made the truce, Jay and Joe, that they were they were at Rock Nation, and I got a call from Ted Smooth, and he was like, "I didn't know you did the documentary." I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Yo," he goes, "Joe and Jay are talking about it for like an hour. Who would have won if they would have played?" And all the surprise guests they had. You know, you had LeBron before he was joined the NBA. That was his, before his rookie season. Carmelo. You know, Amari Stoudemire, you had, Allen Iverson, you had, so many great players, Zach Randolph, Stephon Marbury. It was going to be an NBA game at Rucker Park.
But that's why everybody wanted it, Edgar. Everybody wanted to see this. I remember the streets were buzzing. Everybody was talking about this. They wanted to see this game. Do you think it would have turned into something more than what it was? Or, or was the fact that you look at it now that, hey, Jay and Fat Joe, they kind of had their truce, they came together, and everything was good out of something where there was, bad blood, to say at the time. It wasn't real beef, but you
the thing is, I like the fact they could both talk about, hey, I could have won that game.
Right.
Nobody could claim anything. Right. And that's what I like. They could just claim like, hey, I think I would have won. I think I would have won. And, I think the best way is like that game never happened. That's why I've talked to Joe a couple of times, years past, and I was like, I'm glad the game never happened. And I think he thinks the same too now.
It is the greatest game, guys, that never happened. Everybody was talking about this, and it didn't go down, unfortunately. But Ed is fine. He was there capturing it. You guys can find that if you need to. Ed, over the past 20 years, because we just talked about 20 years, right, from 2003 to blackout to now, streetball's changed a lot, right? There's been a lot into it. There's been corporate sponsors that have got involved. Do you like where the culture of NYC streetball is now and where it is headed? Do you like, where the game is now, even though you're not around it as much as you used to be?
Yes and no. I think, I love the fact that it keeps kids out of trouble. I love, shout out to all the commissioners. You got the Joe Cruzes, the Kenny Stevens, the Ricky Rivers, the Lee at Watson. These guys work hard. And the only thing that bothers me is, besides Nike, which Nike does a good job giving back, no other corporate sponsors usually step up with money. And these guys need money to, run their tournaments. A lot of the times, these commissioners come out their own pocket, a lot of money. And a lot of, the neighborhood people help them sometimes and stuff like that. But a lot of times they're taking a loss to keep the community safe. And that's my thing. My thing is like, I wish some of these corporate sponsors, if they step up, they really should step up. They don't have to give them thousands and thousands of dollars, but, give them something. And I think a lot of times these, corporate sponsors give them a few dollars here and they're like, all right, that's cool.
I think that's something a lot of people don't know around streetball, and I think that Ed just hit on is really important, is that a lot of the commissioners, like you said, sometimes coming out of their own pocket, doing this, and these corporate sponsorships really help these leagues, be able to continue to go on throughout the years. Now, I want to talk about one last thing with streetball, because you and I both worked with Nike Pro City for a bunch of years. You were doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I helped with the streaming of the games around that tournament. It is for people who don't know, great, fantastic summer indoor tournament. Ed, you know this, the stars, they will come out there too and play. We've seen many stars come there and play. What makes Nike Pro City so special for you as somebody who's worked with it a bunch in this city? What makes it so special to you and is continuing to go on for summer basketball here in New York?
Like the same thing. Some of the top players play at Pro City. One, it's indoors. So, a lot of top college players show up. NBA players show up. Last year, Jalen Brunson made his summer appearance at Nike Pro City. Julius Randle, Obi Toppin. The Knicks got a open run there like right before the season started. So that was fun to see. And Jose Alvarado. So a lot of guys go there, and Bernard Bowen runs that tournament. He does a great job. Before that was Ray Diaz, obviously, and Ray Diaz, held it down for a long time. Those guys are great, so my thing is like Nike Pro City to me is one of the top tournaments in the country.
Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. One of the top tournaments in the country. For people, if you want to check that out this summer, they will be at Hostos College again, right? This summer?
I'm hearing Hostos, or it might be Columbia.
Okay.
They got to announce that.
Got to announce that. We'll let them announce that.
Let Bernard do that.
Let Bernard do that. Shout out to Bernard there. Okay, I got to move on to the Knicks, because I know you are a huge Knicks fan. All right, the Knicks season ended, 6 games to the Miami Heat. How do you assess this Knicks season and playoff run? What's your feelings about how this season ended and what this Knicks season was overall?
Overall, successful. I mean, nobody projected them to go to the second round. Disappointing that they lost in the second round. They have to make some changes. I think, they got to figure out the whole Julius Randle thing. I mean, me personally, I like Julius, but he might not be the guy to get you to the next level. They definitely need somebody to help Jalen. I mean, Jalen made himself, that $100 million, $104 million, it's a bargain right now. Right now that he's a $200 million player.
Yeah. I mean, you're good with him, and you got to like what you're seeing out of him if you're the Knicks. So that brings me to the next question, because you talked about you think this season is a success. And I think a lot of Knicks fans would look at it that way. But the next question that comes when they lost to the Heat in 6 games is, okay, what do you want to see the Knicks do this offseason to improve their roster? What do you think they can do? And then also, the other part of this question, too, for you, Ed, is how close do you think they are to winning a championship?
I mean, I worked for the Knicks for 20 years. I saw 2 finals. So my thing is like, every year is different. We have expectations, but my thing is like, I think next year Tibbs' job is on the line. If they don't play, now they have to get to the second round. They have to probably get to the conference finals for him to say, keep his job, at least. And what players? People talk about Cat. I don't know about Cat. DeMar. People talk about. Today I was reading the paper. DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine. My main guy that I want, what Stephen A. mentioned or Brian Windhorst was, Giannis, but that's not going to happen for another couple of years. Or Joe Embiid. I would love Joe Embiid, but that's not going to happen either. So I think we just got to be patient. We've been patient long to this point, so we just got to, just don't make a move where it's going to set us back.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think there necessarily needs to be a move to make a move just to make the move. And sometimes continuity and growth can matter too. All right, and lastly, I got to ask you, because you're always busy, you always got your hands in different things with Hard to Guard Media. What is next for you with Hard to Guard Media? And what's on the horizon? What's coming up for Edgar next? What's the next chapter for you? Is it moving back into street ball? Is it some other stuff? What's going on?
Street ball, retired.
Retired street ball content creator.
Yeah, we're working on two TV show pilots right now. News to be coming hopefully in September.
I can say to the people, you've talked to me about the shows. I think they're very exciting. I can't say more than that, but I think they're very exciting. So yeah, but you have 2 shows you're working on. Anything else?
Yeah, and then some charity events. We do this thing called Paddle of the Sexes. We did that for 4 years, where we get celebrities and athletes to play each other in ping pong, and we're bringing that back. So we're working on that. We're just trying to figure out the day that we want to do it.
That's a good event. I know I've been there before. I know Ian Begley and we had stopped through there before and came through before. So that's always a good time. You're always doing wonderful stuff. You are for me, in terms of content creation, a legend around street ball in New York City. And hopefully all the New Yorkers out there come out and enjoy some street ball this summer. That is Edgar Burgos, the great CEO and founder of Hard to Guard Media. Edgar, thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
No, it's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Anytime, man, anytime. Check him out. Thanks, guys.